Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk some boxing news. There's a whole heap of news that has come out, so we're going to try and smash through it, read some headlines, discuss some things, and we'll keep it moving. Alright, Vasily Lomachenko has been named as a potential opponent for Manny Pacquiao. Man, I was more than happy with Vasily Lomachenko being retired. An absolute great of the sport, no doubt. Everybody gave him all the praise in the world when he retired a few months ago. I'm content with him being retired. I don't need to see Vasily Lomachenko versus Manny Pacquiao. I don't need to see it when both of them are well past their best. So, no thank you from me. Manny Pacquiao, I can't fathom the fact. I just don't want to see him again. I know he looked good against Barrios, but I just don't want to see him again. And in a fight like this, it makes it even less. At least when he was fighting for a title, you could get behind it that he wanted to break a record, that, you know, he might be able to do something amazing. But fighting retired Vasily Lomachenko, not for me. Jamie TKV, who is set to fight Fraser Clark on the first BBC event by Boxer on October 25th, is expected to be ruled out with a rib injury. Unfortunate for Jamie TKV. Fraser Clark as well. This would have been a good fight. It was a good fight. I spoke about it when it got first announced. I thought it was almost becoming a must-win for each fighter. I didn't think Jamie TKV could really afford another loss. Fraser Clark, good comeback after losing to Fabio Wardley, but needs to get back on a win streak. So a bit of a shame that Jamie TKV will likely not fight. Ben Whittaker's Matchroom debut will be on November 29th in Birmingham against Benjamin Gavazi. Benjamin Gavazi, 30-year-old German, 19 wins, 13 knockouts, 1 loss. His loss was in his pro debut back in 2018, which was a 4-round contest. He lost to decision. So a very, very good German fighter. Fought a lot domestically. I believe he got it must have been WBC International Light Heavyweight title. But for Ben Whittaker, I think he's extraordinary. I think he's exceptional. I think he's a great, great asset now for Matchroom. And for me, I think they're trying to team up to fight. Are they trying to fight David Morrell? I think that's their target. I think they want Ben Whittaker to fight David Morrell at some point, but I just want to see Ben Whittaker fighting more often. Keep going. The Liam Cameron fights were a learning curve. The first one, I believe he was losing that fight, and I believe he pulled the pin on that fight, and I think he proved everybody wrong in the second one. I think the mindset wasn't there in the first one, but definitely was there in the second one, and we saw when Ben Whittaker puts his mind to it how good he is. And look, he's one of those people that you either love or you hate, but on November 29th, when people love and they hate you, people are going to tune in to watch, either to watch you succeed and entertain or to watch you get chinned. So Ben Whittaker's debut for Matchroom will be on November 29th in Birmingham against Benjamin Gavazi. Nick Ball has been ordered to face Brandon Figueiredo. They have till November 12th to reach an agreement for the WBA title bout. Look, Nick Ball, he's exceptional, isn't he? He's so fun to watch, entertaining. That fight against Sam Goodman, I think lots of people probably, dismissed Sam Goodman as a competitor. I didn't. I've watched a lot of Sam Goodman. I've probably watched more Sam Goodman than I have Nick Ball, to be honest with you. But both fighters put on a great, great fight. And Nick Ball showed once again how good he is. I think the first time I really appreciated how good he was probably against Ray Ford. And he just keeps growing and growing and growing as a fighter. And I think he can still move through the divisions a little bit more. He could probably move up one more. I want to see him fight in a way at some point. But Brendan Figueroa, a very, very, very good fighter and former champion, has been in there with a lot of names. Coming off his win against Joet Gonzalez in July, Figueroa has beaten Luis Neri to become WBC Super Bantamweight champion a few years ago. He's had a few contests with Stephen Fulton, once for the Super Bantamweight titles. I think it was a unification bout, that one. He lost that, and then he fought Stephen Fulton earlier this year for the WBC Featherweight title, because Stephen Fulton, outright holder, and Figueroa was interim at the time, but he lost that bout as well. But hey, Stephen Fulton is very, very, very good. And this will be a tough fight for Nick Ball, no doubt. I think that Figueroa fight against Gonzalez, that was a tough fight for him, and he got through it. Good comeback victory after a loss, and he's going to have to keep that momentum going because Nick Ball is so hard to fight. Imam Khartiev faces Richard Rivera in a crucial light heavyweight clash on December 11th at the Lac Lemy Casino in Canada. Imam Khartiev, I mean, I'm strongly of the opinion that he got robbed against David Morrell. I think he won that fight. I know he sort of slowed at the back end, but I think he won enough early and midway through to warrant a victory over David Morrell. Obviously, he lost it by split decision. First blemish on his record, and I don't think it should be there. He should be 11-0. 10 wins, 9 knockouts, 1 loss for Imam Khartiev. That was a big step up for him. That was a big step up for him. Olympian turned professional. Someone that's been regarded as almost a Beterbiev-like fighter. He needs to get back in the win column, and I think he'll do that against Richard Rivera. I do think there is some question marks over Imam Khartiev and his gas tank overall, depending on how far he can get. If he gets a fight against David Benavidez or someone like that, or a Bivol, those question marks will be there because we have seen him in the last 2 fights sort of gas out. Richard Rivera, 34-year-old American, 27 wins, 20 knockouts, 2 losses, been in the sport for a very long time. His 2 losses were to Badu Jack and Luis Antonio Tejeda. That fight with Tejeda was in 2024, and he's fought twice since then, winning them both. I think 1 by decision, 1 by stoppage. But yeah, a very experienced and veteran fighter, and it'll be a hard fight for Khartiev. I don't think it'll be as hard as the David Morrell one, but it'll give him something else to experience. And look, for Imam Khartiev, he's still a fairly new face in professional boxing. Lots of people don't know him. Lots of people got to know him through that David Morrell fight on the Ring at 3 card. All right, the last few bits of news, and this is all going to be relating to Sebastian Fundora. As I spoke about a few days ago, Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman have rescheduled their bout, and I spoke about what could be happening with that. It seems as though they've chosen 2 dates. So, Sebastian Fundora's WBC welterweight title defense first. Keith Thurman is expected to land on Manny Pacquiao's undercard in late January. Sources have told the Ring's Mike Coppinger. This is just a quote from Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman on Sebastian Fundora. I fought when I had to take 3/4 zone shots in the left hand against Josezito Lopez, and I took 5/4 zone shots before Manny Pacquiao. Then I underwent surgery. I mean, if Fundora's doctor is saying he needs 3 weeks and we fight in 2 weeks, I've got a doctor that can help you. I've seen a lot of clips of Keith Thurman really battering Fundora, and I can understand it. When I first read that he had a hand contusion and that was going to rule him out of the fight and a rescheduled date for whenever that would be, it was worrying. I was thinking, fighters have fought with worse. Fighters have fought with worse. We all know that. No fighter goes into a fight 100%. And yeah, your hand might have swollen a little bit, but if there's no breaking, no fractures, it doesn't take long to recover from that. And I hope in the end that they do fight in January and that for some reason there's not another injury or whatever happens and this was a legitimate thing. But I do have my concerns about what's going on. O'Shaquie Foster versus Stephen Fulton's WBC Super Featherweight title has been rescheduled for December 6th in San Antonio. Sources have told the Ring. The 130-pound title bout will take place on the undercard of Isaac Cruz versus Lamont Roach. Last bit of news. Janibek Alimkhanuly and Erislandy Lara have agreed to a middleweight title unification on December 6th in San Antonio. This will also be on the undercard of Cruz and Lamont Roach. The IBF WBO titles will be on the line, as well as Lara's WBA title. So 3 belts. Now, I spoke about this in a separate video. Definitely go and check it out. I think this is all done through Turki Al-Sheikh. I think this fight here, Janibek unifies those 3 belts. Early next year goes and fights Carlos Adames, gets the last belt, and then we're going to see Janibek Alimkhanuly versus Terence Crawford for the undisputed middleweight championship. That is my prediction, and I think it's the course of action that's going to happen, because all of a sudden, these fights have been rushed. Like, out of nowhere, Janibek Alimkhanuly is lined up to fight Carlos Adames and Erislandy Lara, like, rapidly, quickly. So, I think we know what's going on there. That means this PBC pay-per-view card will be Isaac Cruz versus Lamont Roach, Janibek Canali versus Erizlandi Lara, Stephen Fulton versus Oshaki Foster, and Jesus Ramos Jr. versus Shane Mosley Jr. It's a hell of a card. It's a hell of a card. Bit of a shame that we're not going to see Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao soon. Hopefully that fight does get made and it is in January as far as what that card's going to look like. It seems as though Sebastian Fundora is going to be a co-main. He's lost his main event spot. Whether that changes the money they're going to make, I'm not sure. But it's now going to be a Manny Pacquiao card. 2 Manny Pacquiao cards in a row for Sebastian Fundora. Obviously, he was on the Mario Barrios versus Pacquiao card. Who Manny Pacquiao fights, I don't know, but I sincerely hope it is not Vasily Lomachenko. Alright guys, leave all your thoughts about what we spoke about today. That is the news. Lots and lots to talk about today. Like, subscribe, and I'm out of here guys. See ya!